A fighter doesn't fear pain. He fears betrayal. Because pain makes you stronger. Betrayal makes you question everything. My name is Joel Faulkner. I'm 55 years old. Used to be the heavyweight champion of the world. These days, I train fighters at Faulkner's gym in Chicago, the same place that raised me. My body's worn, my nose has been broken more times than I can count, but I wake up every morning with a purpose, giving these kids a way out, just like my old coach did for me. The gym smells like sweat and leather, the air thick with effort. The rhythmic slap of jump ropes, the dull thud of gloves against bags, the metallic clang of weights, it's the kind of music I understand. I move through the place, checking stances, correcting footwork. Keep your hands up, Tommy. You drop that left again and you'll be spitting out teeth. The kid nods, adjusting, sweat dripping off his chin. Good. At least he listens. I built this gym up from nothing after I retired. It's where I spend my days, where I put my energy. I don't do hand-holding or fake compliments. If a kid wants a way out, I'll show him, but he's gotta want it bad enough. That's what Mickey O'Brien taught me. Mickey was my coach, my mentor, the man who turned me from a reckless street fighter into a champion. He wasn't gentle about it either. Told me straight, Joel, you fight stupid, you lose stupid. You want to win? Think before you swing. I owe everything to that old man. The past is never far behind, though. Grew up in a rough neighborhood, South Side, where you either got tough or got swallowed whole. My old man wasn't much help, too busy drinking, too quick with his fists. I figured out early that if I wanted out, I had to take it with my own two hands. And I did. Fought my way up, got a shot at the title, took it. The money, the fame, the respect, it came fast. So did Victoria. Victoria Faulkner. Back then, Victoria Russo. Blonde, elegant, polished in a way I wasn't. She had the kind of presence that made people lean in when she spoke, like she knew something the rest of us didn't. I was young, hungry for success, and she looked like success. I thought we made a good team. She handled the social side, the fancy dinners, the charity galas. I handled the ring. We were married for 22 years. Maybe I should have seen it coming. Maybe I did, in the way a fighter sometimes senses a punch a second too late. But back then, I still thought we were solid. I get home late most nights, the gym keeping me out till after 10. The house is quiet when I walk in, just the soft hum of the central air and the faint smell of her perfume hanging in the hallway. Victoria's sitting at the dining room table, scrolling through her phone with a glass of wine in front of her. She looks up, gives me a small smile, the kind you give a coworker in an elevator. Not a wife to a husband. You're home late, she says, voice smooth as always. Same time as usual. I drop my bag by the door, walk to the fridge, grab a water. Something wrong. She shakes her head, but something's off. I notice the new bracelet on her wrist, silver with small diamonds. Not the kind of thing she buys on impulse. Not the kind of thing I bought her either. Nice bracelet, I say, twisting the cap off the bottle. She glances down, almost like she forgot she was wearing it. Oh. Yeah. A client got it for me as a thank you. She works in high-end real estate, sells luxury condos to people who don't think twice about spending millions. I know how the game works. A little schmoozing, a little gift-giving, all part of the deal. But something about the way she says it doesn't sit right. That's so. I take a sip watching her. She doesn't meet my eyes. Yeah. She slides her phone face down on the table, reaches for her wine. You hungry? I can heat something up. I shake my head. Ate at the gym. She nods, takes another sip, doesn't say much else. 22 years and I know when she's lying. The thing about boxing is you don't react the second you sense something. You don't swing wild. You let it sit, let it build, wait for the right moment. So I don't ask questions. I don't push. I just sit back and watch. Because if there's one thing I learned in the ring, it's that the truth always comes out. And when it does, you'd better be ready to hit back. Over the next few weeks, I start noticing more. Little things at first. Victoria's sudden generosity, new clothes, high-end perfume, a silk scarf that's way too fancy for our usual date nights. I find a sleek leather wallet sitting on the dresser, monogrammed with her initials. The kind of thing you buy for a man, not for yourself. Nice wallet, I say one morning, sipping my coffee as she gets ready for work. She glances at it, then at me, her mascara wand pausing mid-swipe. Oh yeah. A gift from a client. Part of a thank you package. Another gift. Another high-end gesture from a nameless client. I don't say anything, just nod. Then there's the way she's suddenly on her phone more, but careful about it. She used to leave it on the counter when she cooked, in her purse when we went out. Now it's always within reach, screen tilted away. When she gets a message, she doesn't check it right away, she waits until I'm not looking. And at night, when I get home, she's always dressed a little nicer, her hair done in that effortless way that takes time. One night, after a long session at the gym, I stop by my sister Faith's place. She lives in a small apartment near Lincoln Park, cozy, filled with books and mismatched furniture. She opens the door and gives me that same nervous look she's had for weeks now. "You eating?" I ask, stepping inside. She hesitates. "I was about to order something." I nod toward the fridge. "I'll cook." "You got eggs?" She lets me because she knows better than to argue. I crack eggs into a pan, let the silence stretch, waiting for her to talk. She doesn't. "You want to tell me what's going on?" I finally say, keeping my voice even. Faith shifts on her feet, arms crossed. "What do you mean? You've been acting off. You know something." I slide the eggs onto a plate, grab a fork, set it in front of her. "Spit it out." She stares at the food like it's gonna answer for her. Then she exhales, rubbing a hand over her face. "Joel," as she stops, swallows. "I didn't know if I should tell you. I didn't want to be the one. Just say it." She looks up, eyes filled with something that makes my stomach turn. "Victoria's seeing someone." I grip the counter, jaw tight. I knew it. I knew at the moment I saw that damn bracelet. Faith keeps talking, words coming fast now, like she's been holding them in too long. "I wasn't sure at first, but I saw her. A few weeks ago, at the Addison. She was with a guy, tall, dark hair, looked like one of those corporate types. They weren't just talking, Joel. They looked close. The Addison. High-end lounge downtown. Not the kind of place you meet a client for drinks." I take a slow breath, keeping my hands steady. "You sure?" She nods, guilt all over her face. I didn't want to believe it. But yeah. I don't get mad. Don't flip the table or punch the wall. Fighters don't waste energy swinging at shadows. "Thanks for telling me," I say, grabbing my coat. "Joel?" I hold up a hand. "I got it." I walk out, my pulse steady, my mind already working. You don't throw a punch without knowing exactly where it's gonna land. And me? I'm gonna make damn sure this one lands clean. I don't drive straight home. Instead, I take a detour, cruising through the streets with the windows down, letting the cold Chicago air keep my head clear. The Addison. Fancy place, the kind where the cheapest drink costs more than a decent steak dinner. Victoria always liked places like that. Liked the attention, the polished atmosphere, the way people spoke in quiet, expensive tones. She used to drag me there early in our marriage, back when she still wanted to show me off, the fighter in the suit, rough around the edges but successful enough to belong. I park a block away, walk the sidewalk slow. It's late, but the lounge is still buzzing, warm light spilling out onto the street. I don't go in. Not yet. I stand across the road, watching the entrance. Watching the people coming and going. Watching for him. It takes 3 nights. 3 nights of sitting in my car, drinking coffee, waiting. And then I see him. Tall, dark hair, clean cut. Moves with that casual confidence that only comes with money. Not flashy, but polished, the kind of guy who grew up knowing he'd never have to work with his hands. He steps out of the lounge, checks his watch, and a minute later, Victoria follows. She's smiling, that soft, reserved kind of smile she used to give me when we were first dating. She touches his arm, and it's all I need to see. I don't confront them. Not yet. A fight is won before the first punch is thrown. I trail them from a distance, watching them move through the city like they own it. They walk a block to a parking garage. He opens the door for her, she slides in, and they drive off. I don't follow. I don't need to. I have enough. The next morning, I make a few calls. A guy I used to train, Marco, works in private security now. Knows his way around information. I give him the details, and within hours, I have a name. Daniel Harper. Physical therapist. Owns a high-end clinic downtown. Of course. I show up to the clinic unannounced, walking through the glass doors like I belong there. The receptionist looks up, surprised, but I don't give her time to stop me. "I'm here for Harper," I say. She hesitates. "Do you have an appointment?" I just stare at her. She shifts in her seat, uneasy. One moment. I glance around as she makes the call. Sleek place. Modern. The kind of clinic where rich clients come in with minor aches and walk out feeling special because they paid triple what a normal therapist would charge. The kind of place Victoria would go. A minute later, a door opens down the hall, and he steps out. Daniel Harper, in the flesh. He's exactly what I expected. Trim, athletic, but in a controlled way. Not a man who's ever been hit. He looks at me, brows furrowing slightly, then forces a professional smile. "Mr. Faulkner, right?" He walks toward me, extending a hand. I don't take it. "You and I need to talk," I say. He shifts his weight slightly. "If this is about..." "It's about exactly what you think it's about." His jaw tightens, but he keeps his voice calm. "This isn't the place." I smile, but there's nothing friendly about it. "That's where you're wrong. This is exactly the place." I lean in slightly. You spend your days fixing up guys like me, right? Helping them heal? Then you should know something about injuries. I glance down at his hands. Think you'd still be able to work if those got broken? His throat bobs. He tries to stand his ground, but he's not used to men like me. Look, I don't want any trouble. Then you should have stayed the hell away from my wife. His eyes flick around, checking to see if anyone's watching. This isn't what you think. No? I let the silence stretch. He squirms. Then tell me, Harper. What exactly is it? He doesn't answer. That's what I thought. I step back, adjusting my coat. You're gonna regret this. I promise you that. Then I turn and walk out. By the time I reach my car, I already know exactly how I'm gonna make that promise come true. I don't go straight home. I drive around, thinking, planning. Fighters don't just react. You let your opponent think he's got control, let him get comfortable, and then you take everything from him. That's what I'm gonna do to Harper. I make a few calls. First to an old buddy, Ray, who works in private investigations. Ray's been around, knows how to dig up dirt, and more importantly, knows how to make sure the right people see it. I give him the name. Daniel Harper. Physical therapist. Owns some fancy clinic downtown. Find me something. Give me a day, Ray says. The next call is to another guy, Donovan. He's a lawyer, the kind who doesn't care much about right or wrong, just about winning. I don't need him yet, but I will. By the next morning, I have everything I need. Ray delivers fast. Turns out Harper's been dipping into some shady business. Clinic's been struggling financially, so he's been adjusting patient bills, overcharging insurance companies. Small enough not to get caught yet, but big enough that if someone were to bring it to the right authorities, he'd be finished. Perfect. I don't go after him right away. I wait. A few days pass and Victoria starts noticing my silence. She's used to me asking questions, checking in, but now I don't. I go to the gym, I come home late, I barely acknowledge her. And that makes her nervous. One night, she stands in the doorway of the living room while I watch a fight replay. You've been quiet lately, she says, trying to sound casual. I nod, eyes on the screen. Yeah. She waits for me to say more, but I don't. That's the thing about silence, it makes people uncomfortable. After a long pause, she steps closer. Something wrong. I sip my whiskey, set the glass down. You tell me. Her face barely changes, but I see it. The quick flicker of something behind her eyes. I don't know what you mean. I finally look at her. Really look at her. The woman I married 22 years ago, the woman who once stood by my side at championship fights, who played the perfect wife when the cameras were on, but now? Now she just looks like someone playing a role she's no longer sure she wants. I let the silence stretch, then lean forward, resting my elbows on my knees. You know, when you're in the ring, you learn how to read a man. You learn when he's about to throw a punch, when he's scared, when he's got nothing left in the tank. You learn to spot the weakness before he even knows it's there. I pause, letting the words sink in. I see it in you, Victoria. And I see it in him. She stiffens. Joel? I hold up a hand. Save it. I stand up, towering over her, and for the first time I see real fear in her eyes. Not fear of me, but fear of losing. I grab my keys, my coat. You made your choice, I say. Now you live with it. I walk out, leaving her standing there, and head to the next phase of my plan. Harper's about to learn what it means to pick a fight with the wrong man. I don't believe in luck. Never have. In the ring, luck doesn't keep you on your feet when a 240-pound man is trying to knock your head off. Strategy does. Preparation does. Knowing when to throw the punch and when to let the other guy swing first, that's what wins fights. And this? This is just another fight. Harper has no idea what's coming. He's still playing house, still thinking he's gotten away with it. I let him believe it. I let him enjoy his little secret. Meanwhile, I make my moves. First, I get the insurance fraud paperwork into the right hands. A friend of mine, former fighter, now works in the legal department for a big medical firm, takes one look at the files Ray sent me and whistles low. This guy's an idiot, he mutters, flipping through the pages. This many flagged claims? It's just a matter of time before someone audits him. How long you think? I ask, leaning back in my chair. A few weeks, maybe less. But once they start digging? He's done. Good. Next, I make sure the word gets out. Chicago's a big city, but certain circles are small. And the high-end, big-money circles? Even smaller. A quiet conversation here, a little nudge there, and suddenly some of his wealthier clients are second-guessing their appointments. The ones who pay top dollar don't like whispers of scandal. They like their money clean. Then I make sure Victoria gets a front-row seat. I don't act angry. I don't accuse. I let her see me calm, controlled. The way she starts to fidget when I come home at night tells me she's waiting for something. A fight, an argument, anything. But I give her nothing. And nothing is worse. One evening she sets the table for two, something she hasn't done in months. I sit, eat in silence, let the weight of it press down on her. Joel, she hesitates, pushing her food around on her plate. What's happening? I sip my drink, set it down slow. You tell me. Her eyes flick up to mine. Don't do this. I tilt my head. Do what? She exhales sharply, frustration creeping in now. The silent treatment, the mind games. If you're angry, just say it. I chuckle, low and even. You'd like that, wouldn't you? You'd like it if I lost my temper, if I gave you something to turn this around, make me the bad guy. I lean back in my chair. But that's not how this is gonna go. She looks away, jaw tight. I finish my drink, push my plate back. You know, I say, wiping my mouth with the napkin, I've been thinking a lot about respect. About what it means to really know someone. And I realized something. She doesn't ask what. So I tell her anyway. I don't know you at all. She flinches, just barely, but I catch it. I stand, grab my keys, and as I walk past her, I say it quiet, just enough for her to hear. But you're about to know me real well. And with that I leave. Because the next part? The next part is gonna be the knockout. I don't need a grand stage for what comes next. Just the right moment. The kind that lingers, the kind people talk about for years. It comes sooner than I expect. The gym's hosting a charity night, something I started a few years back in honor of Mickey. A fundraiser for underprivileged kids, giving them scholarships, gym memberships, a chance at something better. It's always a big event, local businesses sponsor, reporters show up, even a few old fighters come by to shake hands and tell war stories. Victoria never used to miss it. Back when she still cared about appearances, she was right there by my side, smiling for the cameras, shaking hands like a politician. This year, she hesitates. I don't invite her. She invites herself. I'll be there, she says one morning over coffee, her voice careful, testing. I nod, not looking up from my paper. Sure. She's waiting for something. A fight. A reaction. I don't give it to her. The night of the event, the gym's packed. Ring lights on, banners up, kids working mitts in the corner while guests drink and mingle. I'm shaking hands, making rounds, keeping an eye on everything. And then she walks in. Victoria's always known how to dress for a room. Elegant, tasteful, expensive without being flashy. Tonight's no different. But she's tense. She knows something's coming. She just doesn't know what. And then, right on cue, Harper walks in. I watch from the far side of the gym as he scans the crowd looking for her. He spots her near the buffet table, but he doesn't go to her. He hesitates, keeps his distance. Smart. His shoulders are tight, his jaw set. He knows something's wrong too. Then the whispers start. Quiet at first. A couple of guys from the business world eyeing him, shaking their heads. A woman from the mayor's office looking at her phone, then glancing at him with barely disguised disgust. Harper's name is already making rounds, and it's not the kind of talk you recover from. I walk toward him slow, take my time. He sees me before I reach him, and for a second I think he might turn and leave. But he doesn't. He squares up, tries to act like a man. Harper, I say, nodding like we're old friends. Faulkner. His voice is tight. Hell of a turnout tonight. I glance around, take in the faces. Good crowd. He shifts his weight. Looks like it. I smile. Shame about what's happening with your clinic. His whole body stiffens. What? I lean in slightly, drop my voice. You're a smart guy, right? You had to know this was coming. His throat bobs. I don't know what you're talking about. I chuckle. Sure you do. See, the thing about cheating, whether it's in business or in a marriage, is that eventually you get caught. I pause just long enough to let that sink in. And when you do, it ain't pretty. His face goes pale. You son of a... Careful. I tilt my head. You might want to save your energy. You're gonna need it. He opens his mouth like he's got something to say, but he doesn't. Because there's nothing to say. I step past him, making my way toward the center of the gym where the mic's waiting. People gather, the crowd quiets, all eyes turning to me. I tap the mic once, clear my throat. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight. This place, this gym, means a lot to me. It gave me a way out when I had nothing. Gave me purpose. And thanks to all of you, it's giving these kids the same shot. Applause, nods of agreement. I let it settle before I continue. But tonight I also want to take a second to talk about something else. Something important. I glance toward Victoria and I don't miss the way her fingers grip the stem of her wine glass. You see, in this gym we teach discipline. Honor. Respect. We teach that a man's word means something. That trust matters. I pause, scan the room. And when someone betrays that trust, there's a price. The room is dead silent now. I pull a small remote from my pocket, click the button. The The projector screen behind me lights up. And there it is. The security footage. Harper and Victoria walking into a hotel together. Her hand on his arm. His on her waist. Frame after frame. Proof. Gasps. Mutters. I don't look at them. I don't need to. I set the mic down, step back, and let the room take care of the rest. By the time I look over, Victoria is already halfway to the door, her face pale, her composure shattered. Harper's frozen, eyes wide, a man realizing just how deep in the hole he is. I let them go. Their fight isn't with me anymore. I've already won. A year later, the gym is louder than ever. New kids, new talent, same old grind. The place smells like sweat and hard work, just the way I like it. I stand by the ring, watching Miguel spar. Kid's fast, got good instincts, but he still drops his right when he throws a hook. I shake my head. You want to get laid out? I call out. Miguel grits his teeth, adjusts. No, coach. Then keep that hand up. He does. And when he lands the next punch clean, I nod. Good. He's learning. The past year's been busy. Expanded the gym, brought in more trainers, started a mentorship program. Got the city involved, too. They gave me some fancy award last month, recognition for excellence in community development. I didn't do it for that, but it's nice to know the right people are paying attention. Victoria? Last I heard, she tried moving out of state, but her name still stinks in the circles she used to run in. People like her don't recover from a fall like that. Harper? The fraud investigation took him out. Lost his clinic, lost his license. He fought it, of course, but when the insurance companies come for you, there's no getting up from that count. Good riddance. Faith drops by the gym sometimes. She never says it, but I know she feels guilty for not telling me sooner. I don't hold it against her. Some people freeze when they see a punch coming. It's not their fault. Hey, you eating tonight? She asks, leaning against the ropes. I smirk. Since when do you cook? She rolls her eyes. Since never. I meant it, Mom's. Mom. I never had much of a relationship with my old man, but my mother? She's still around, still the toughest woman I know. Yeah, I say. I'll be there. Miguel stumbles in the ring, and I snap back. What the hell was that? He groans, rolling his shoulder. Slipped. I climb up, lean against the ropes. You know what my old coach used to say? Miguel shakes his head. I grin. Ain't no such thing as a slip. Just a mistake you don't want to admit to. He exhales, adjusts his stance, and I nod. That's the thing about boxing. About life. You take the hits, you learn, and then you hit back harder. A fight's only over when you stop swinging. And me? I ain't ever stopping.